Hi, I'm Mike Polito.
Hi, I'm Katie Polito, and
This is Call to Love Again. Hello, everybody. Glad you're with us. Our topic today is to talk about marriage. Why marriage, Katie? Why should we be concerned about marriage? You know, most of the people watching here have experienced divorce, or maybe they're separated, maybe they're contemplating divorce, or they've been divorced for 20 plus years. So why are we talking about marriage today?
I think all of us understand the longing and the yearning for marriage, and it's always good to know about how the culture sees marriage, and our marriages fell apart. So it's good to kind of dive into what a good marriage looks like,
Or
what
how
it is.
maybe how we got here, right? How we got to this state of divorce?
True,
Or
and
dysfunction, whatever's happening.
right, because as we heal from our wounds, we're better prepared for a relationship if we want to get into another marriage. It's also good as we help other divorced friends, and we can't forget about our children. And there's a quote that says, "So the family goes, the society goes." So we don't want divorce to be a generational tragedy. We want our children to have happy marriages. And so the more we learn about what went wrong in our marriage and what is a good marriage and how to make a good marriage happen, and the truth about marriage, we can help ourselves heal. We can help other people, and really that gives us such rewarding feelings, when we are navigating a single life. So there are lots of reasons to talk about marriage, even though it might seem a little counterintuitive for somebody who just got divorced or who is divorced or part of a divorce ministry.
Yeah, it can be part of that healing too. So let's talk about the current state of marriage, how culture in the society around us defines marriage. What are some of those beliefs? One of them that I wrote down when we were talking about putting this together was, I don't really think people think marriage is permanent anymore.
Absolutely not. Our culture is one of connect, disconnect, kind of a throwaway culture.
Yeah.
So when something stops being good for us, we just throw it away and get a new one.
Or say it's not meant to be, and maybe I can find somebody better. How about this idea that I think of, this person completes me, or this person, I'm going to get something from this person, this using each other?
Definitely, sure. I think, there's a lot of romantic kind of ideas about marriage out there, that this other person is going to offer me all the satisfaction and all the fulfillment in a relationship that I'm looking for, that I yearn for, that I need to find my soulmate, that marriage is about finding something that completes you or that offers you all of the satisfaction that you desire. And that's just...
You're saying we don't really even know what marriage is or what its purpose is. So
No.
we're gonna find that out here in the next few sessions as we unbake marriage. How about this idea that there's people out there, we're hearing a lot from the younger generation, that, I don't know if I want to be like in jail or bound to one person for that long.
Right. Commitment in our culture is a really scary thing. It's something that's not really looked favorably on. It's not valuable anymore. But that really goes in direct conflict or contradictory to how we're made. We all want long-lasting relationship. We want loyalty. We want that forever person, that forever friend, the person who'll be there for us no matter what. So the ideas of culture and how they're affecting marriage and relationship kind of get inside of us whether we want it to or not. And these are the things we need to change in our culture and about what we're hearing, and change the narrative that's going on in our minds. And I don't know about you, but if you're out there looking for a marriage and a relationship, don't you want somebody out there who knows these things and who wants a long-lasting relationship, who wants commitment? So you're wondering why we're talking about marriage. Well, we want people who have maybe been in a divorce situation and realized I didn't even know what I was doing wrong. So now we're trying to show people what a good marriage is.
Yes.
The more people know, the better chances we have.
And the better we can discern if God does call us back to be married again, how does that come to play? How do we heal from those previous wounds and mistakes that we've all made? You know, it took two to get divorced, right? So let's talk about those for people that, you know, God may not be calling them to be married again, or maybe they don't even feel that urge to be married. Maybe we're so wounded from, or we just don't feel that call. What do you say to those people?
Well, I think that comes from a lack of freedom, right? We're still kind of a slave of our mistrust of people. We're a slave of being abandoned. We're a slave of being hurt. And the beautiful thing is that for those of us who are not called to be married again, or who are not sure yet, the truth about it is that marriage is a sign of God's unconditional love for humanity. And so we need to believe in marriage. We need to know that it's good, and we need to be in love with it. Even if we never are called to live it out, we have to understand what it's a symbol and sign of. And we have to really open our hearts to that unconditional love and mercy and freedom that we're called to be in union with God.
And others, right? So our call may not be to be married to a specific individual, but it may be called that we're supposed to serve a broader group of people, friends, a ministry, a workplace, but we're all called to keep that loving and that communion with others. So,
and all the things that make a good marriage between two human beings are the same things that are going to make a single person be able to be fulfilled and satisfied in a vocation that is, or in a life spent serving others. So we talk about what makes a good marriage so that even single people living out, you know, the rest of their lives not being married can experience satisfaction, fulfillment, and a purpose and an identity and a way of knowing that they're making a difference.
Yeah, so you can be a guide. Even though you're divorced, we can still, I think that was what you're trying to get to, is how do we shepherd others, especially our children, and so they can get into a long-lasting, fulfilling marriage, which some of us didn't have. So we want to wrap up this little introductory part to marriage. And the next three videos after this will be really defining what marriage is, how to find fulfillment in marriage, how to recover and heal, right? And really prepare yourselves for the next phase of your life. But I thought it'd be good to end up a little bit with some teaching on what marriage may be, and then in the next session we'll dive into more of that. So,
Mike, if you don't mind, before you end with this really beautiful quote, and it is wonderful, I encourage you to listen closely. I would ask you to leave this session asking yourself, you know, how has the culture impacted your thoughts about marriage? Really introspect and go over your marriage and why it didn't work. Really delve into what was your part, what did you bring to it, why do you think it didn't work? And I know that can be uncomfortable, but it is such an important part of the healing process. And what do you want in your next marriage? What do you think would make a good marriage? And so all of these questions are really going to soften our hearts to let God teach us and prepare us for the beautiful life that He wants to give you.
yeah, that's great. That's a great segue, Katie. So let's start describing that. We didn't want to leave you at the end of this first video without some good hope and maybe what marriage is about. So we define what culture says it is. Let's see what God says it's about. So I found a really good quote that I wanted to share with you, is that the woman with her limitations awakens in the man, who is also limited, a desire for fullness at a proportion to her capacity to answer it. So you awaken something in me
That I can't not
that I
fulfill.
can't. She awakens this thirst that she is unable to quench, a hunger she is unable to satisfy. This is what gives rise to the anger and to the violence that married couples so often experience, and the delusion they feel if they do not understand the true nature of their relationship. So this is really stating the problem the core part of the problem of what's going on is that we're awakened to something.
Well, I'm attracted to something in you, so therefore I think that you are the answer to the yearning. But just because somebody or a relationship awakens you to your longing doesn't mean that they are the fulfillment of the longing.
So if a husband and wife do not encounter what this sign is pointing to the place where they can find this fulfillment of this promise that's set in our hearts, that the other has aroused, then they are condemned to be consumed by this pretension
So
from
if
which they cannot free themselves, and their desire for the infinite, for which no one like the person loved arouses, is condemned to remain unsatisfied.
So
Unsatisfied.
we have to
That's
understand-
where we're at. I think
Yeah.
this is where we're at. We came out of divorce, we're unsatisfied, we discount what marriage is about, and now we want to just move on.
But the longing and the yearning is still there. And that longing and yearning is a longing and a yearning for God. He put that in us, and He is the only one who can fill that God-sized hole in our hearts. And marriage and an attraction to relationship is good because it reminds us of that. And a true marriage is a sign and a symbol of God's desire for us and His ability to satisfy us.
So come back next time with us. We're going to get into what a marriage is to satisfy that longing.
And how it does that.
Thank you for joining us.